So, welcome back to a special episode of The Guts to Critique, where we are going to rank all the movies that we saw last year on a tier list. So, we're doing these in release order. We're going to try and get through them pretty quickly. So, let's get started. We're starting off strong with The Beekeeper. I'm going to put this in the good category.
I was just going to say that. I think that it was fun, it was well done, but I was a little disappointed because it wasn't what I was expecting.
I thought it was a lot of fun. There's some really cool action in here.
Oh, yeah.
But having rewatched it, some of the dialogue and the writing is a little bit weak, so that's the only reason why it's kind of held back.
Yeah.
The next one is Lift. I actually only watched part of this, and then I never finished it.
I saw it because I was in the room while someone else watched it, and it kind of sucked. Kevin Hart was good in it, so I'll put it in the bad section. I'll be nice to it, but I didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah. Next up is Argyle. This was a pretty big disappointment. I'm putting this in the...
Meh. I think it...
I'll put it in meh, because it is entertaining. There is fun to be had. It's a great cast, but, this was really disappointing because it just felt like they kept trying to, out-twist themselves. Every 10 minutes there was another twist, and by the end of the movie, I felt like they'd lost the concept that had me interested in the first place.
I definitely agree, and I still enjoyed it, but they definitely ruined it by the end.
Yeah, they definitely lost it.
Yeah.
Next we have Madam Web. That's just going straight into awful.
Yup, that sucked.
Although, I don't think I hate it as much as most people. It is really bad, but a lot of people talk about it like it's just one of the worst movies of all time.
It's not one of the worst movies of all
time. I don't know that I'd say that.
I mean, there are definitely
really
movies
bad
on here that are much worse.
It's just so bland and forgettable. It's a movie that is bad at being a movie. So, now we have Dune Part 2.
Ooh.
I thought this was really overrated. I'm putting this...
Is it mean if I say bad?
I'll put it in the meh category. I'll put it above Argyle.
Okay, so quickly I'm gonna say that the closer to the left, right?
Yeah, the closer to the right. The closer to the left you are, the better you are. The closer to the right you are, the worse.
So I'm gonna put Dune 2 in bad because I just do not enjoy the Dune movies. I don't get why everyone loves them, but I will put it above Lift.
I enjoyed the first Dune because I thought it had some really cool world building. I thought this one was just so boring. It was just like watching sand blow for 3 hours.
I was also told that the first one... I fell asleep during the first one, and so I was told that the first one was supposed to be the world building, and the second one was the actual story. And so I'm like, oh great, I'm actually getting a story, and then it wasn't, and then I found out there's a part 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ew.
Next is Damsel. This is another one that I did not watch because I just heard it was generic, so I just didn't even bother with it.
I did see this one. I'm gonna put it in meh above Argyle because it was actually a really interesting plot to me. I really want to read the book, but I thought it was really well done, and I think you should definitely watch it. I think it was really worth the watch.
Next up, we have Kung Fu Panda 4. That's going in bad. I'm putting it in bad.
I really want to put it in awful.
It was such a major disappointment that, it's competent enough, but, compared to the first 3 Kung Fu Panda movies, it is nowhere near as good.
I'm putting it under Lift. Well, yeah. I almost wanted to put it in awful, but I'll put it under Lift in bad. That was a really, really good day for me. I remember the day this came out. It was such a good day for me, and then we went to see the movie, and it sucked. And my day was ruined. So yeah, I definitely was very disappointed.
Next up, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'm gonna put this at, the bottom of good.
I didn't see this movie.
I'm somewhat, I'd say I'm a pretty big Ghostbusters fan, but I was not a huge fan of Afterlife. But with this one, the Ghostbusters are already started, so I thought it had the potential to be a lot of fun. And I thought it was good enough. It was a little bit disappointing, but I thought it was a good time. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. This is total bias. I'm putting this straight up into masterpiece.
You are? Oh, well, I haven't actually rated... yeah, I guess it is a masterpiece, actually.
Well, I'm a major Godzilla and Kong fan.
It was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year.
I just thought it was so much fun. There was so much action. It fixed all of my problems with Godzilla vs. Kong. So I just thought it was so much fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie.
Civil War.
I didn't see it.
I am putting that in meh. I'll put it above Dune 2 because I thought it was a little bit more rewatchable. This was another one that, like, it was pretty disappointing because I heard a lot of things about it. I heard some people loved it, some people hated it. I was kind of in the middle where, like, I thought it was a movie that had a lot to say, but it didn't have the guts to actually say it. So it was, it felt, it was really just a movie about war photographers rather than the actual Civil War, which was just really weird.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, I am putting this, like, bottom of... Well, I'll put it above Argyle, but oh my gosh, what a meh movie.
I'm putting it in good above Beekeeper.
Oh my god. Like, I was so excited for this movie because, like, we got Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, just this fun group of actors killing Nazis, directed by Guy Ritchie. I was like, yes, this is going to be so awesome, so much fun. We even got to see it at an early screening for free.
Like a week early.
That was cool. And then the movie, like, whenever it's about this group of guys killing Nazis, it's a lot of fun. It's what I wanted it to be. But most of the movie, I'd say like 70% of the movie was focused on these two side characters. Like, they weren't side characters, they were the main characters. And so, like, Henry Cavill and his group are kind of pushed off to the side, and we're following just these two people like this espionage plot. And it was so boring and underwhelming. Like,
I agree, but I also had too much fun with it to say it was just meh. Like, I felt like I just laughed every single time the crew was on, and that made it worthwhile for me, and I think I would watch it again, and maybe my opinion will change, but from what I remember, I really enjoyed it. I came out smiling and laughing, and I just recently saw Beekeeper, and I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I actually think I'm going to put it above Dune 2 just because it moved at a faster pace, but that's about it.
Alright.
The next one, The
Idea of You. So I saw this movie. By the way, it's not really worth seeing. I don't even plan on reading the book. I guess I'll put it in bad above Dune because I did at least enjoy it, and I didn't fall asleep during it, and there was actually a story to it, but it definitely was not my favorite, and I'm not going to rewatch it.
I did not see that one, but the next one is one that we both saw, another one at an early screening, The Fall Guy. That's going straight up into Masterpiece. That was just a lot of fun. I saw the trailers, and I was like, yeah, it looks fine. It's from a director I really like, David Leitch, who directed Hobbs and Shaw, Deadpool 2, so he's done some stuff I really like.
Yeah.
And then I heard some really good buzz around it, like it was getting some really positive reviews. I was like, maybe I'll check it out. And then we got notification that we could see it at an early screening.
Again.
And so we're like, all right, let's go to an early screening for an action comedy. And I was blown away by how much I enjoyed this movie.
We saw it a second time, too.
Yeah, we saw it a second time.
I'm actually putting this above GXK because I'm not as big of a Godzilla fan as you, and so for me, this one was just a little more enjoyable, as much as I loved GXK.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this one.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite movies of the year.
It was a lot of fun. It was a major surprise.
I can watch it over and over.
Then we have Unfrosted. That's going into awful. I'm putting it above Madam Web.
No, I'm putting it below Madam Web.
I'm putting it above just because
Madam Web was
there were at least some jokes that I actually found to be pretty funny. There was one in particular. I'm not going to spoil it, but, like, I thought it was like entertaining enough to be above Madam Web.
Was there humor? Yes, they were all comedians. Was it good? Not even close. It was trash. I did not enjoy it at all. Madam Web, I could at least appreciate some moments. This one, it was like the one-liners, and I just didn't.
Next one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm putting this in the great category. I love the last trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies that we got, starring Andy Serkis as Caesar.
Oh no.
And when I first saw this one, I was disappointed, but rewatching it, I just thought, like, wow, like, there is some really great world building here, and it's really interesting to see, like, where the story goes after Caesar, and, like, what his legacy was.
So, I fell asleep during this, in the theater. I fell asleep during it the second time I watched it. It got to the point where I just had to watch it from halfway through, like, where I fell asleep, and just finish it. And I think it was good. I enjoyed it. but I fell asleep during it 2 times. Like, what does that say? So,
That says you're a really sleepy person.
I'm gonna put it under Ungenly Warfare in good.
That is...
They're more tied than one is over the other.
That's unacceptable, Lexi. Ungenly Warfare has got to be in meh. That is such a disappointing movie.
Well, now that you're, like, putting one in great, I'm like, which one of these goes in great? I guess I have an idea.
Kingdom goes in great. But, okay,
Alright,
next up, If. So this is directed by John Krasinski, who did the first 2 Quiet Place movies. I'm gonna put this up in the good. Good.
Yeah, I think that's good.
This one was just... Actually...
I'm
I'll
considering
put it
great.
above-
I'm considering
I'll put it
great.
above Beekeeper. It was just... It was a really charming movie that John Krasinski said he wanted it to be like a live-action Pixar movie, like kind of have like that Pixar kind of tone and feel. And I think he accomplished that. I thought it was fun. It was really emotional. The only thing that really holds it back for me is that I feel like it gets a little bit too emotional, like, to the point where like I was borderline depressed. Like, and there wasn't as much humor as I thought there was going to be to lighten the tone.
Yeah.
And most of the imaginary friends were just cameos. They got these really great actors to voice these imaginary friends, and they're just kind of just one-off cameos, which was pretty disappointing. But very good movie. I definitely recommend it. It did not get nearly enough love.
So I think it was definitely, like you said, a little too emotional, and at times it was a little too goofy, but it is a kids movie. And so I did enjoy it. I think it was good. I put it above Beekeeper, under Kingdom, in good.
Okay.
So good. It's a good spot.
Next
for it.
up is Hitman. So this is just going straight into meh, I think.
I think it's going to bad.
I think I'll put it like above Ungenly Warfare, but below Civil War.
I'm putting it above Lift, below Dune.
I might have to reorganize it at the end. But
Yeah, I think I might change some stuff.
Hitman, this was one, I heard a lot of great buzz about it. We started it, we watched like the first 40 minutes, and we're like, this is really good, let's get everyone to watch this. And we were watching it, and we were all like, this is really, really good. And then we got to like the last 10 minutes. It was really enjoyable up until those last 10 minutes where they just did something that it was just like, what are you doing? Like, they just went off the rails. It totally ruins the whole movie, which is weird because this movie is actually based on true events, and like the very ending they said they made up. So the one thing that we know for sure they made up was the worst part of the whole movie.
Yeah, so I definitely think it was like, it was going uphill, steady. It just plummeted.
Yeah.
So I put it above Lift because I did enjoy 90% of it, and then Lift I enjoyed like none of it. But it definitely, I actually enjoyed Dune more than it. And I think that's saying something.
Yeah. Next up, Ultraman Rising. I'm putting this up in the great category.
I haven't seen it yet.
So, I cannot for the life of me. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put that below Kingdom, I think. This was just such a pleasant surprise. I saw the first trailer and I was like, okay, why does Ultraman sound like Paul Rudd? That was all I took away from it. Finally, I watched it because I heard someone say that it was actually really, really good and was worth checking out. So I watched it, and I was so pleasantly surprised by how enjoyable this was. It was so funny, heartfelt, and there's some really cool action in there. It was animated by ILM, the visual effects company, which I think is really, really cool. And so I just thought this one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one, and it had some really solid emotion at the end. Next up, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I'll put this at like the bottom of good.
I feel like it goes above Beekeeper, but at the same time I don't want to put it above Beekeeper.
This one was like, it was good enough. It was pretty disappointing because they got the original cast, but they didn't really utilize them very well. No. And Axel's daughter, I feel like, was just such... Her character was just written so oddly that like it was pretty off-putting, and she kind of acts as like this anchor that holds the movie down. Yeah. It was good. It is good, and if you're a Beverly Hills Cop fan, I definitely recommend it. There is some really nice nostalgia in there. It's kind of like The Force Awakens for Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
where it kind of plays it safe. So
It was better than the third one.
it was definitely better than the third one.
Yeah, I think it was definitely fun, and they didn't utilize the old cast like you said, but I enjoyed seeing them and having them all there together after the third one, which was a big disappointment. And I definitely think the daughter could have been a much better character than she was.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Twisters. This is going up in the great.
Yeah,
I think I'd
that's
put
a
it
great
above.
for me.
Yeah. So we're pretty big fans of the first Twister.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty excited for this one. We went and we saw it, and it was like, that was a really fun, like, throwback blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
And it just felt good to, like, be in the theater during the summer and just have, like, a fun action comedy blockbuster. Well, not really an action comedy, but it's kind of like a genre blend. You get a little action, a little comedy, even, like, a little bit of romance.
Yeah.
So I thought this one was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think
it's better than the first Twister.
I actually did enjoy it better, more than the first Twisters, probably because the first Twisters was a little more goofy than this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated the seriousness while still getting comedy in this. Yeah, I thought this was just so well done, and it would be a masterpiece for me, but there are better movies in here, I think, like one or two more that I want to move up there, so.
Deadpool and Wolverine, that's going straight up into masterpiece. So you did not see this one, but
I didn't, but I might want
I
to.
saw this one. I absolutely this was my most anticipated movie of 2024, and it absolutely delivered. I just had so much fun. Like, it's gotten like some criticisms for like having like a weak story. None of the Deadpool movies have had particularly strong plots, so I didn't think that really worked against it all that much. All it had to do was deliver Deadpool and Wolverine bantering, fighting, teaming up, and that's what I got, and I had a blast with it.
I think that if I could have seen it, it would be a masterpiece based on just what I hear from you. He told me all the cameos and stuff, and I really do want to watch the Deadpool movies, but they're a little too gory for me still. I'm working my way up. I'm desensitizing myself. And if I could rate this, it'd be a masterpiece just based on what I've heard. But sadly, I can't. I'm very sad.
Then we have The Instigators. This is just meh.
I think
I'll put it like the bottom of meh.
Yeah.
It was like it looked like it would be like a fun little direct to streaming movie, and it was just so bland and forgettable. Especially like it's surprising because Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, and then I think the director is Doug Liman, who did Edge of Tomorrow and like The Bourne Identity.
Really?
So he's like a really good director. So you got like some really strong talent behind the scenes, and it's just such a bland, forgettable movie. I forgot this came out.
Yeah, I didn't remember it. I definitely was very disappointed in it. When I saw the trailer, I thought it looked so fun, and then we watched it, and I was just like so bored with it.
Yeah. Then we have Rebel Ridge. This was an actually really good direct-to-streaming movie.
I think I'm putting it in great.
I'm putting it in great.
I think I'm putting it under Twisters because I was multitasking while watching this, so I didn't get to fully appreciate it. But I really did enjoy it.
I highly recommend this one because it's kind of like a modern-day version of First Blood.
Rambo, yeah.
Yeah, like the first Rambo movie. It's like a modern-day version of that. And it's just done really, really well. It's more of a thriller than an action movie, but there is some really cool action in there. The lead actor, who was also in Mufasa, I forget what it's like Aaron Pierre or something.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he just
right.
does such a phenomenal job in this
really
movie.
good.
He has such a presence.
Yeah, this movie was very impressive. I think it was so cool how they did it and how they introduced his character. Yeah, it blew my mind.
Yeah, it was very surprising.
Yeah.
Transformers 1, this is going into great.
Yeah.
I think I'll put it above. Oh. I'll put it at the top of great.
I think it's...
Although, admittedly, there is some bias coming from me because I'm a pretty huge Transformers fan. So, the first trailer for this looked really bad. And then the second trailer was a little bit better. And then we watched it and it was like, yeah, that was great. That's what I was hoping it would be when they first announced it. But the animation is gorgeous. It's funny. You get some actually really good emotion and like storytelling with it. There's some really great world building.
Yep.
I really like how it ties. Well, it has like some nice little references and Easter eggs to the greater Transformers lore.
It was a movie for the fans, and I put it one below Twisters because towards the ending I was a little disappointed how they did it. I felt it was very rushed, and so that got a little took some points off for me.
One of the character arcs felt a little bit rushed, but that's the only thing that really holds it back.
Yeah,
for me.
and so for that I put it behind Twisters because I didn't really have anything I didn't like about Twisters. So, but I thought Transformers 1, it was a lot of fun. I laughed a lot. Bumblebee was my favorite character as always. And the voices, when I heard Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, I was like, really? That's who they got? Really? But he actually did really good. I thought he was really well done. Brian Terry Williams, is that who?
Henry.
Yeah, I thought he did really good, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah. The Wild Robot, that's going into Masterpiece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, first trailer came out. It looked so generic and bland. Watched it. It was incredible. It was like a tearjerker, but it was also just like really funny. It had a really dark sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
The animation is gorgeous. Like it was a really emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm putting it under GXK, but I really did love it. When I saw the trailer, just like he said, it was boring. It was bland. I didn't pay attention to the trailer. Didn't know what it was supposed to be. There was no talking. I didn't understand. I didn't even know the robot would talk. But then I saw it and I was crying. I was laughing. It made me keep spinning in circles, and I absolutely loved this movie. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Next we have Wolves. I'm gonna put this. I'll put it like the top of good. This is a direct streaming movie starring George Clooney, Brad Pitt. It's directed by John Watts, who did the last trilogy of Spider-Man movies starring Tom Holland. And I thought it was like a solid little sort of crime thriller drama with like some comedy sprinkled in. You get a little bit of action at the end. George Clooney and Brad Pitt just have such a fun chemistry. I think they really elevate the movie, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it.
I don't know where to put this one. It's either going towards the bottom of good or towards the top. It's the very top of meh. I really don't know where to. I guess I'll go bottom of good.
We might have to rearrange this.
Yeah, I think we should definitely rearrange it because I'm already
We'll have
rethinking.
to double check these.
Sorry. I'm putting it above Axel F, below or I guess it goes above Beekeeper. What are we saying? It goes above Beekeeper. I enjoyed it. I was a little disappointed with how they ended it, and it wasn't what I thought it was, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done, and I just loved seeing the two of them together again. They always do so great in their movies.
Yeah. Venom: The Last Dance.
I don't want to be mean to it, but like I have to be honest, and I think it was top of meh.
I'll put it I'll put it top of meh. This was probably the biggest disappointment of 2024.
Yeah.
Because I loved the first two Venom movies, so I was super excited for this one. And it just was like, what are we doing? Like, we're dancing, we have this like sing along in the car, like the big bad literally just sits around saying evil stuff the whole movie. It's like, what are we doing? Like, there was so much potential and they just wasted it. And I think towards the end, towards the end it gets really good, but like that should have been the whole movie. The ending was the stuff that you actually wanted to see.
Yeah, I was so disappointed with this, and I did cry and I did laugh, which is what you're supposed to do, but I had such high hopes for it.
Like, it is fun. It was very entertaining and watchable. Like, Venom and Eddie, like, their banter is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that definitely elevates it.
I loved Venom in this movie, and as someone who really loves the first two movies, like, I mean, as I've rewatched the first movie, I think it's actually moved to, like, a 10 out of 10 almost.
That's impossible.
I just, like, that's a comfort movie for me almost. And so, this was just... Like, I want to be nice to it, but it only belongs at the top of Met.
Yeah.
Wow. I hate this cold.
It was a big disappointment.
Hi again.
So our camera shut off because we were filming for half an hour,
Whoops.
which already is a bad sign. I wanted this to be like 20 minutes or less. Oopsie. So our camera shut off. We lost like the last half of our ranking. So now we have to do it again because everything we did, we didn't realize we weren't being filmed.
9 movies.
So-
9 movies.
We did some rearranging of our lists.
Which is
and-
why it looks different.
Which is why it looks a little bit different. But we also had to go back and take everything from Red 1 onward down because all that footage was lost. So we have to start over.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start over from Red 1.
Already forgot where I put half of these. So it's
We're
going
just
to look different.
Yeah. We're just going to do it. Red 1, I'm putting up in the good. It was our first review. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really overhated. I just thought it was a fun little Christmas adventure with some fun action and comedy.
I'm trying to remember where I put it. I guess it's going at the bottom of the good because that's...
Just go in with a fresh mind, Lexi. The memories are gone. The footage is gone. It's fine. Just do what your
What gut tells you.
what your
gut
tells you to. Gladiator 2. I'm putting this up in the good. I think I put it at the top of good.
I'm putting it above Wolves, below Venom in Meh.
Yeah. I thought this one was.
Sorry, I had a dive.
I thought this one just had some really great action. I thought I thought the performances were all really, really good. I just thought it was a solid follow-up to the first movie.
I don't really remember what happened. I remember enjoying it. I remember giving it a good rating. I remember mildly liking it better than the first one. Other than that, I can't say a lot because I need to rewatch it. I honestly don't remember a lot from it.
Then we have Wicked. I'm just putting this in the bad. It just was not for me. It was just not my thing. I didn't enjoy any of the songs. I thought the plot was... I thought there was some really odd decisions. I know it's based on a Broadway show, but it's just some really odd things in there that just not for me at all.
So remember back in episode 2, in our review, I said, never gonna watch it again. That was a lie because I wasn't planning on seeing it again, but then my friend was like, hey, let's go see it. So I went to see it a second time, and I actually really loved it the second time, and I became mildly obsessed with it. I've been listening to the songs more and more. I've been watching more and more content. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm actually putting it in good above Beekeeper, below Unjumily Warfare. I do really enjoy it now. Yeah, and I'm excited for the second one. I don't understand why they renamed it from Part 2, but
yeah,
that's story for another time.
That's a discussion for another day. Dear Santa, I'm just putting this in the awful. They had such a great concept. It was it sounded like it was going to be so much fun, and then it was just so bad. Not a fan. When we first watched it, I was like, yeah, like it was bad, but like it was entertaining enough. And now, as time has gone on, I've only liked it less.
I just hate this movie. I did not enjoy a single part. It's going at the very bottom, below Unfrosted.
Worst movie of 2024 for you.
Oh yeah, Unfrosted at least had the humor. This had nothing.
Yeah.
No. We're done. Moving on.
Moana 2, I'm just putting this in the bad. Just once again, just not my thing. I don't enjoy any of the songs. It has some really good animation, but just not for me. Very bland and forgettable.
I think this is where I originally put it. It's going above The Idea of You, below Argyle, which I know this looks a little different because we did reorganize. So it's below Argyle and Matt. Some of the songs have grown on me a little, and yeah, I mean, you can watch a review. It was fine.
Yeah. Then we have Carry On. Carry On! I'm putting this in good. This was actually really surprising. I think I put it here.
I think I put it above
remember.
Beekeeper.
But this was pretty surprising because I saw the trailer. It looked like it was just another generic Netflix original film it was just a rip off of Die Hard 2. And while it does have a lot in common with it, I thought it was still a very effective thriller that it was like surprisingly very well done. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this movie. I wasn't really expecting to. I was definitely edge of my seat for some of it. I started off kind of weary on it, and I wasn't really enjoying it, and then it got to the point where I was, like, curling up, and I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? And by the end, I really enjoyed it. Jason Bateman was a great villain. I've only ever seen him play the good guy, so it was kind of cool seeing him as a villain. Yeah.
Next up, Juror number 2. This may be the last movie that Clint Eastwood ever directs. I'm gonna put this at like the bottom of good. I thought it was like a good enough little courtroom drama. It had the potential to be great, and it was just kind of good enough. I think this movie really suffered with like the execution of it, where there's like too many gaps in logic that you're just kind of looking at and you'd be like, that's not how that would work in real life. But
yeah, I put it below Wicked, above Carry On. I did enjoy this movie, and I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. I felt like it could go either way, and it really pleased me. So I definitely enjoyed it. I really do think I need to reorganize this again, but we're not gonna do it. It's fine.
Next up, we have Mufasa. I'm gonna put this in the good. I think above Ghostbusters, below Wolves. I thought this was a solid follow-up to the remake from 2019. That it has a lot to offer. There's some really good things in there, but I also think that some of the questions that it answers, I think some of the answers are pretty unsatisfying. Like, how did Scar get to be the way that he was? I thought that in particular was very unsatisfying.
And rushed.
I think the songs over time have definitely grown on me a little bit, so.
Yeah, I put this below Carry On, above Axel F. I enjoyed it in the moment, and then the songs have definitely grown on me, and I think the reason I didn't like them originally was because I was expecting classic Disney, but I shouldn't have been. I do quite enjoy some of them now. And yeah, I think it was well done. It was enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright, then we have Sonic 3. We're ending on a high note. I'm
Good
putting
way to
this
end the
straight
year.
up into great. I really dug the first 2 Sonic movies. I wasn't crazy about the Knuckles show, but I was excited for this one because we're bringing in Shadow, and it looked like we were getting like more emotion and stuff. And it gave me exactly what I wanted. I thought that the emotional stuff, like the emotional half of it, worked really, really well, and it was balanced really nicely with the humor, which it felt like they finally nailed with this one. And I thought that the stakes were bigger than ever, and I thought that absolutely worked for the movie, so I really loved this one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great way to end the year. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would, and I mean, Keanu Reeves as Shadow, it was really cool. And I'm kind of shocked that I'm putting it above Transformers 1, but like I really just did enjoy it that much. I thought it was so good, and yeah, it was great.
So, these are our final rankings for all the movies that we saw last year. This was a lot of fun to do and to put together. A lot more time consuming than I would have liked, but hopefully we can do this more in the future and we can kind of refine the process a little bit more. Make it run a little bit smoother. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. If you have any recommendations for movies for us to watch, please let us know in our email. If you have recommendations for rankings for us to do, let us know as well.
And we'll do legacy reviews as well, so any movies that came out in previous years, we can review now.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.